Hello and welcome to our next Python tutorial for VRED Pro. My name is Christopher and today I will introduce the new data types in the AP version 2, talk about their background and show you how you can work with them. When we look at the Python AP version 1, there aren't really any data types to work with. All the parameters are either passed by their single values or as a list, like the components of a vector or a color. Also, the function's return values most of the time are either a single value, a tuple, or a list. From a Python point of view, this is okay. This is called Pythonic, so the way this is done in Python. But this way of working has its disadvantages. For example, when we are working with vectors, we always have to convert the Pythonic representation in a more convenient representation to perform mathematical operations. The Python AP version 2 therefore introduces new data types that tackle the previous issues. It introduces an object-oriented way of working with the data. That means that values like the components of a vector are combined in a single object rather than being treated individually. For example, input parameters and return values for geometrical functions that deal with vectors now use the new data types. These data types have been borrowed from the Qt framework that VRED uses internally, and each data type comes with exactly the functions you would expect from it. For 3D graphics programming, we have the new data types QVector2D, 3D and 4D, and also a matrix data type. We have a new color type that can create colors from hex values, RGB or other color formats, and we have some types that help us building a graphical user interface like QIcon, QSize or QImage. When you want to work with these types, you do not have to import them by hand. VRED already added them for you and you can just start typing a large Q in the script editor, hit space while holding the control key, and you get a list of all the new data types you can use. So with that said, let's look at some operations we can do with the new data types. In the first example, we create a new annotation and set its color. For this we can use the new QColor type that allows us to create colors, for example, from RGB values, but also from HSV or other color spaces. In the next step, we can move the annotation a bit higher to actually place it onto the hood of the car. To do this, we simply create a new 3D vector and put it in the setPosition method of our annotation. For our next example, we want to calculate a vector that points to the right from our current camera. So actually we want the vector that is described by the cross product of the camera viewing direction and the up vector. Calculating a cross product or a dot product are basic operations when doing 3D programming, but with the new data types it's finally really easy to do this. In the script we first get the up, from and at values from the current camera that basically describes the up direction, the from direction from where the camera is looking, and the at direction where the camera is looking at. With these values, we can calculate the cross product in one line by calculating a vector from the camera to the target and the up vector. In the last step, we just normalize the result and then we are done. This is the advantage of these new data types. We have all the functionality without having to import any external modules or implementing our own types. Another example, we want to calculate the distance from the camera to the origin and the distance to the z-axis of the coordinate system. This is also very easy because the vector classes already offer such methods. In this case, it's the method distance to point and distance to line that we are using here. So you see, there's really no need to use an external library or write your own vector implementation. The data types should contain most of the functions you will ever need when doing 3D programming. There are so much more useful data types we could talk about, like the QTime data type for measuring times or the QSize for representing areas. But the vector types are definitely the most useful ones. To learn about all the types, I can really recommend the official Qt documentation. They also have some great examples here. Just remember to use the autocomplete feature of the script editor with control space that shows you available functions and types, and use online search to find the documentation of the Qt types. Okay, that's it for today about all the new data types in VRED. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for joining me and see you next time.